Morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar on understanding avian behavior, why parrots do what they do, and how we can help. My name is Yiming, and I'll be your MC for today. I'm happy to introduce Miss Robin Horemans from Parrot SOS, who will be sharing her expertise with us. Robin is a certified parrot behavior consultant and a certified pet bird trainer with the International Avian Trainers Certification Board. Besides that, she is the founder of Parrot SOS, a company dedicated to improving the lives of companion parrots through evidence-based and ethical behavioral support. With over 2 decades of hands-on experience and formal training in avian behavior, Robin specializes in helping pet owners resolve complex behavioral issues in their pet birds, such as aggression, feather plucking, and screaming, while building relationships rooted in trust and choice. For today's sharing, Robin will be delving into the science behind avian behavior, allowing you to better understand your companion parrots. She will also go through positive reinforcement training methods and ways to improve your bird's welfare. Lastly, she will conclude by highlighting some of the problem behaviors in parrots and how you can address them. The sharing will last approximately 1.5 hours, followed by a Q&A session and the feedback form. Please direct your questions to the host. Our team will collate the questions and ask them on your behalf at the end of Robin's sharing. Without further ado, let us welcome Robin.
Hello, wonderful to be here. I'm very excited to present on avian behavior. We will be looking at why parrots do what they do and how we can help them. We are a room full of parrot lovers. We all adore parrots, and I can't wait to share with you some of the science behind why they do what they do. So today, we are going to start by defining behavior. What exactly is that? How do we change behavior? We'll be looking at some body language. We'll talk about training that builds trust between you and your bird. We'll talk about some common behavior challenges, and we'll do scenarios where we present a scenario, we will be analyzing it, and I'll show you how to do that, and we'll come up with some solutions together. At the very end of the presentation, there is Q&A time, so keep that in mind. We may solve some problems before we get to the very end. I want to make sure everybody has their microphone muted for now, and if we need to ask questions, we'll have you unmute then. Let's dive in. Our goals today are to understand, assess, and respond to parrot behavior. This is a Moluccan cockatoo with his crest fully extended, and if you don't know exactly what that means, you will by the end of the presentation. So a little bit about me, you already heard. I have a number of certifications. I do mostly bird training. I do have some dog training certificates as well. And if you want to know more, you're welcome to go to parrotsos.com. So last I'll mention that we're diving straight into bird behavior. This is a short video. There are a bunch of different birds, but my goal is that by the end of this presentation, we will watch this whole video again, and you'll better be able to understand exactly what is happening. So for now, enjoy, see what you can see, and we'll talk about it at the end. All right. I hope you all saw many different behaviors there. Let's talk about what is behavior. We're talking about anything that an organism does that can be observed and measured. So almost literally any action the animal's doing. So it could be a response to something, it could be its own action, there could be an internal stimulus like pain or an external stimulus like a noise or a bang. All of the things that we're looking at, the things that you saw in that video, we call behavior. Behavior is how your bird communicates with the world. They are acting on the world, expecting something in return. Behavior is observable, measurable, and purposeful. And by that, I mean it is something that you can see with your eyes. It's observable. So if I am looking at pain, I'm not seeing the pain. I am seeing the feathers move. It's observable. It is measurable. I can see how high those feathers move. If I wanted to measure it in millimeters, I could. And it is purposeful. That bird is raising those feathers on purpose to say something. There's a reason why they're doing anything. It's anything that can be observed and measured. It's usually the animal expecting to get something, but it could be they want to avoid something. And what I like to say is they're not going to waste the energy. They're not wasting the calories just moving their feathers up and down for no reason. There's got to be some reason. And that is why we're here today. Because behavior is information, what the heck do those feathers mean? I want to start with every time your parrot does something, they're giving you clues. We may label it as good or bad. Those feathers coming up, is that good feathers coming up or bad feathers coming up? But that is a lot of judgment on a little bit of feathers. So our job is to observe, understand, and respond in a way that supports the safety and well-being of the bird and of yourself. So Dr. Susan Friedman is a absolutely phenomenal behavior consultant and professor emeritus in behavior. She's phenomenal. If you haven't heard of her, go look her up. I love this quote from her. If you can't see it, count it, or describe it, it's not behavior, it's a guess. So we are looking for wonderful, observable behaviors. And labels aren't what we're talking about. So what's a label? If I'm walking up to the bird and it is raising its feathers, I can say it raised its feathers by 3 millimeters. If I walk up to the bird and go, oh, that bird's hormonal, what does that actually look like? Oh, that bird's just stubborn. That bird's just shy. And it's kind of a tricky bird, but what does that look like? The corner in here that says species specific, oh, he's just a cockatoo. Oh, he's just a Quaker. Oh, he's just a lovebird. You know, lovebird things. These are all labels that we use commonly, and it's a thing that we are going to be trying really hard not to do today. When we're looking at observable behaviors, I don't want to call the bird shy. I want to say, what does shy look like? Shy looks like turning its back to me and facing away. Shy could be taking 3 steps further away from me. Shy could be retreating behind a toy. I want to say exactly what you're seeing because then we can make positive changes. Tell me what you see here. I see a bird running away. I see a bird running back. There was a bit of a nip. There's some chewing on the
No.
clothing there.
Ow.
Some fairly large bites happening. Crests are going up and down. Body language is shifting and changing. That's what I want you to describe when we see the cockatoo doing things. How about this one? I will save you the rest of the video. It continues on fairly loud for quite a while. Is that bird psycho? Is the bird angry? Is he A screamer? What is he actually doing? He's standing on top of his cage. He is looking at me right now. There is loud vocalizations as well, but we're avoiding the label and we're switching to observable terms. Okay, deal? Awesome. So things like he's a screamer. The screaming, the loud vocalizing is communication. That's what I want to talk about. He's a biter. Biting is actually usually an escape or avoidance behavior. We'll talk more about that later. He hates me is usually some sort of refusal, walk away, no thank you, I don't really want to do that right now. Little bit different perspective. We are shifting our perspective from he is a biter to, I see this behavior happening. He's running towards me. There's feathers extended. There is a lunge. There is beak contact to that lady's side. I can see and measure that. That's what I want to have. Then we need to talk about what do we do to change it? How do we change behavior? I see the cockatoo running on the sofa. I see the bite. What do I do to change it? What we're going to talk about is the ABCs. Let's define behavior as an antecedent, the A behavior, the B, and C as the consequence. And in this case, I don't mean consequence as in suffer the consequences. I mean, what happens? What's the outcome? What's happening here after the behavior happens? So we'll talk about ABCs a lot. We're talking about what happens before the behavior, and what happens after the behavior. So let's define it. Let's define it a little bit more. The antecedent is what happens right before the behavior. The behavior is what actually happened, not the label. And the consequence is what happened right after the behavior. We're going to do this a lot today. So screenshot this. This is something that we're going to do again and again and again in the next hour and a half. What happened right before? What was the observable action behavior? And then what happened right after the behavior? In behavior science, you'll hear a lot of talk of reinforcement. When we're talking about reinforcement, we're talking about a behavior that is more likely to happen again in the future. It's more likely to happen again because of that outcome. They're seeking to gain that outcome. A behavior that happens more has been reinforced. In behavior science, we use the term punishment as less likely to happen in future, but it often gets tangled in punishment as in physical punishment. I don't mean that. I mean outcome that is less likely to happen in the future. You can almost think of it as instead of punishment, a reduction in behavior. It's a technical term. It's in a textbook. The textbook references are at the end of this presentation. We use the word punishment because it's been defined in a textbook by people before me. So we go with the science, and that's what the science uses. So there are risks to using punishment, decrease behavior functions. We'll talk a little bit about that later. But this is where the words reinforcement and punishment do come from. So what we have is the ABCs of behavior. So when the A happens, then B, the behavior happens to get or avoid C, that consequence, that outcome. And again, we're going to be doing a lot of this today. This is the ABCs of behavior. This breaks down the behavior from, oh, the cockatoo is just being a cockatoo, to what exactly is the behavior? What happened right before? What happened right after? Let's figure out what exactly is going on. So here's the cockatoo from right at the beginning. This is Max. And we are trying to give a head rub because Max loves head rubs. So watch this video and let's see what happens.
Good job, Max.
And he lunged at me. Oh my goodness. So I'm going to play it one more time and I'm going to call out the body language that I see, the observable behavior. He's looking at me. I give him the wiggle. He puts his head down a little bit, but then decides he doesn't want to, opens his beak and pushes forward. That's observable. That's body language. That's behavior. I thought I was giving him a reward, and he was clearly telling me, I don't actually want that right now. So you were reaching out to pet the bird. He was sitting calmly. There was no, air quotes, aggressive label. There was no body language that would make me think that that was an unwanted advance. I even asked, would you like a head rub with my fingers in midair? He did lunge and tell me that he didn't want to. Let's do the ABC. We fill in the behavior first. What's the behavior? The bird lunged at me. Yes, he did. He absolutely lunged at me. Right before he lunged, though, my hand approached him. That's what was different. That's what was happening right before the bite. What did he get out of it? I took my hand away. I do not like getting bitten. I don't want to be bitten, and I take my hand out of there. So what does he get out of it? My hand leaves. Perfect. Works for him. That's exactly what he needed in that moment to say, no, thank you, I didn't want that. If I ignore it, or if I push more, we might escalate to something else to say, no, thank you, I don't want your hand near me. But the goal here for him was distance from the hand. This is what I would prefer, where I'm doing a head rub. Again, turn the music off. And I get a really nice lean and some good head scritches. A very enthusiastic yes from this little cockatiel. Yep, I pause and I re-ask, and he says yes again, right in there. Okay, perfect. Very nice body language there. His head is bent forward. The feathers are opened and not slick. It's a little bit of a head tilt. Love it. So let's do an ABC on this one. Are you ready for this? There's lots of behaviors happening here. Again, I'm going to turn the music off. Let's watch some body language. All right. So let's restart. Is that good or bad? We're not looking at good or bad. We're just labeling behaviors. So start it again. I'll call out what I see. See a bird who's fairly slick, but he stepped up well, gave my finger a beak. He stepped up onto his perch and went into his cage with no problem at all. Locked him in. He's got a neutral body. He's looking directly at me. Hi, buddy. I thought that looked fantastic. Let's do the ABC. So he stepped up really, really nicely, and I immediately took him to his cage. I thought it was a fantastic step up, but he went back in his cage. And so he doesn't get any more time out. So next time he may not step up on my hand again because that step up go in cage wasn't exactly awesome for him. It wasn't bad. That looked fantastic. But the behavior of going in the cage, he stepped up on my hand to go in the cage. Is that the door closes and he doesn't get any more time out? See how we are now dissecting the behavior out of those assumptions. What actually happened? What happened right before and what happened right after? This might be a reason for him to decline a step up in future. He doesn't want to go in because he knows that happened. It happened last time. ABCs are wonderful at peeling off the layers of assumption. Here's the skill that we prefer. Same bird, my house. Ask him to go in. He walks down himself. Feet on perch. Reward. Cage door closed. Even though the cage door closes, he is probably more likely to do that next time, and we don't have to worry about step-up refusals. That's the skill I'd like. The ABC there works a lot better. So now that you guys are all experts in ABC analysis, we use them to analyze that behavior itself. And that goes a little bit deeper into something called a functional assessment. It is a piece of functional assessment. Now that you know all about ABCs and defining behavior and what happens before and after, we put it into a functional assessment to figure out a little more of the why of what's happening. What is the bird getting or avoiding here? We're looking for function for the bird, not for you, not for what you're assuming, but looking at the pure function of the bird. There could be several options. There could be some outcomes that you weren't even thinking of. And that is one of the reasons why I love teaching people about the ABC analysis type of behavior where we can really bring it down to that basic level and test it and adjust it and see if that's really what we think is going on. It gives us tools. So, what's the function? Most birds fit into one of these four categories. There can be multiples. That is the other part of this. It can fit into multiple categories or all four. Behavior is complex. But usually the four common behavior functions are attention, getting your attention or flock attention or some sort of attention seeking, escape or avoidance, not wanting to do something or wanting to get away, escape doing something. That's very common about biting during step up. A bird doesn't want to. They're looking to behave, to escape or avoid the step up. Sometimes it's access to items or food, something like going and finding a treat. We see a lot of that in foraging. They're putting a lot of effort into finding the treat. But it can also sometimes be part of an air quotes again, cage aggression. They're actually just, that's their item, their resource guarding that item, cage or food or toys or space. Another common behavior function is sensory. So it feels good to chew that door frame. It just feels amazing to bite the leather purse. Feather plucking does fall into a sensory or auto-reinforcing function. Feather plucking is extremely complex. We're not going to talk about it too much today, but you can see where this analysis would be useful in determining what's one of the functions, what's going on, what are they looking to get out of this whole thing? Why are they spending the energy? So we add to the ABCs and we go, when A is around, then B, the behavior happens to get or avoid C, the outcome. That function is then really important. Here's a scenario and make it a little more clear. When A, your bird is left alone, when in this scenario, then B, the bird will scream, make very loud, repetitive vocalizations to get C, you to come back in the room. Hey, be quiet, stop that. So the outcome, that function, they really wanted you to come back and it worked. Cool. So next time I want you to come back in the room, what am I going to do? I will do some screaming. It works. See? Look at the function. And one of the amazing things that we have with this ABC and function is we can then predict the outcome. That test hypothesis thing, is that really what's going on? Is that what's maintaining this loop? Because then I can actually make changes knowing what the heck is going on. So the functional assessment is, why is the behavior happening? Let's figure out the function and test it. I wonder if that screaming is to get me to come back into the room. I wonder if that is the function for that animal who's spending a lot of energy on it, expecting some sort of outcome. So, be a detective, observe, test, and adjust. Let's see if that's it. And if it isn't, we can do another ABC and we can test it again. Here's the why bother. Why do we bother going through all of these behavior analysis gymnastics? Once we have this possible solution, then we can make changes. We can fix it. You can't fix what you don't understand. So this is sort of like taking your car to the mechanic and saying, fix it. The mechanic is going to do testing. They're going to ask you questions. Is the car making noise? Do you have a flat tire? What am I fixing today? Why am I here? And if you say, I don't know, it's a car, fix it, they have to do all kinds of testing to figure out what's going on. We're doing that to these behavior situations. We figure out the ABC, we figure out what the bird is trying to get or avoid, find that possible function, then we can fix it. Then we go, oh, it is just a flat tire. I know what to do. Otherwise, if you don't know it's a flat tire, what are you doing? Are you changing the oil? Are you doing an engine swap? Like, how much work are you going to do on this car if you don't know what the heck is wrong? Throwing answers at an unknown problem is like throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks. Try this, does it work? Yes, no. Try this, does it work? Yes, no. And it gets really frustrating. You feel like you've tried everything, and you have. But just like the car, if that's not the problem and it's just a flat tire, like These are the analysis. This is what we need to know in order to make an effective behavior change plan. It's super, super, super powerful. This is where we need to get all the information, though. Now that you are experts in functional analysis and know how to do an ABC and determine the function, we're going to talk a little bit about body language and increasing your eyeballs to see a little bit more of the observable behaviors that your birds are giving. Because parrots speak with their entire body. They speak with their feathers and their posture and their eyes and their beak and their wings, and every part of them can be used for this communication. But also each bird is unique, so what one bird does, the next bird might not. We're going to give you some general things. I want you to look at your bird to see if any of these things are happening in yours. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. This is my favorite part. We're going to slow down your eyes. You guys are all wonderful bird people. You know your birds really, really well. This is going to add extra information so that you can see even more of your bird's signals. And here's my hot tip. Set up a video, like we all have cell phones, record yourself and your bird interacting. You don't have to share it with anyone. You don't have to show anyone, but you can watch it back yourself to see if any of these body language cues are there. It's a really useful tip. Video yourself and your bird, replay it 4 or 5 times, see if you can see any of this stuff. So we're going to talk really quickly about all of these common body language signals. I want to talk about the feet, the wings, the eyes, their posture, their feathers, and their beak. Like I said, you guys are all wonderful bird people. This is fun stuff. Did you know that a bird's foot stance being wider is less comfortable and being narrower is more comfortable? In general terms, a bird that is really comfortable sits with their feet close together because they're not worried about the wind or the branch breaking or anything else happening. They can sit with their feet fairly close together and still be comfy. A bird that has to be ready, or if there's wind, or if the branch is moving, is going to widen their stance to hold on more strongly. Again, these are not good or bad, but if you are walking up close to your bird and their bird's stance widens and grips tightly, now you've got more information. Great. You can see narrow feet and wide feet. Wings. You've all seen wings. You know what they do. The cockatiel in the bottom right corner there is a male cockatiel doing what's commonly referred to as heart wings. That is a beautiful way of a bird courting another bird, usually associated with positive feelings. It's usually wonderful to see this. It can sometimes lead to a heightened state of arousal. Looking at heart wings, I'm not saying it's good or bad, but now I can see what it is. The macaw in the other quadrant, the scarlet macaw, no, green-winged macaw, actually has his wings fully extended to the sides, which in macaws is more of a back away, uncomfortable, I'm big and scary, you need to give me space thing. Wings are really communicative, so you can also see in that macaw, we just talked about feet, a bit of a wider foot stance than the cockatiel, who is gripping tightly but a little bit more narrow. Cool. Let's talk about eyes. This is another one that I know you know, but we're putting words to it. So the top picture there is an Amazon. It is pinning its eyes. That is where the center pupil of the eye gets very, very small on purpose. Parrots actually have the ability to control their pupil, the little black dot in the middle. Eye pinning is usually excitement or overstimulation, but it has a variety of expressions. What I want to talk about is monocular vision versus binocular vision. Mono means one or one eyeball, monocular, and that's what we see in the top picture. We only see one eyeball. That bird is looking through one eye at us, at the lady at the camera. Whereas the picture in the bottom is binocular. Bi means two eyeballs. Because parrot eyes are located so far on the sides of their skull, they don't have a lot of overlap in the middle. It's a couple of percentage I want to say 7. Do not quote me on that. I'm not a veterinarian. They have the ability to focus their eyes, sort of cross their eyes a little bit, and they do that when they need to range. A single eye is not very good at distancing, ranging things, but if they do need to range, they will get this binocular stance and they will narrow both eyes on you or the seed to make sure that they're getting the right distance when they reach for it. So if we are looking at a bird that is about to bite, the bird in the bottom picture has fairly neutral body language, fluffy cheeks, a neutral round body, and actually fairly close together feet. However, I am seeing 2 eyeballs. That binocular vision gives me an indication that I am now in target range of both of his eyes. And I am likely to not put my hand in front of him because I don't want to be bitten. That is his pre-bite face. And that's all the warning I get from that bird is the binocular both eyeballs on me. It's a really powerful thing in parrots, and it's something that I know all of you know, but now you have words for it. Very, very interesting if you have a binocular thing, but also interesting if you are looking at a bird. I might ask you, 1 eyeball or 2? What do you see? 1 eyeball or 2? What does 2 mean? We're ranging, we're distance ranging. Posture. Tall and sleek, low and forward, neutral, lunging. What's their posture doing? So the Senegal parrot in the top picture has a very sleek and tall posture, also eye-pinning, also almost binocular, fairly tight grip. There's lots going on in that picture. But the posture, the tall posture, is something I want you to see that is different than that low posture in the African gray. None of these things necessarily in and of themselves mean good or bad. I just need you to see them. 1 eyeball or 2. The gray has 1 eye on you. The Senegal is about to be 2. I was just about in range. Now that you can see it, you can't unsee it. Feathers. Feathers are super complex. Feathers are one of those things that I could probably do an entire hour on just on feathers alone. It is subtle, it is complex, and it is multifaceted. So I brought the Senegal picture into this one. He's the bottom right one again, because those slicked feathers are really good to notice. A slicked bird is not as comfortable as the other 3 birds in that picture. I want to focus on the first picture. This is a young Myers parrot. This is Luna. She has fluff almost everywhere where she is round, even her head, her forehead, the back of her neck, her chest, her wing feathers, her whole body is a big round puffball, very relaxed. If I saw that big round puffball in an Amazon, I may not consider it relaxation. They may be extended on purpose, so get to know your bird. The other one that I really want to point out is the cockatoo. The umbrella cockatoo in the top right picture has fluffy feathers around his bottom beak. I like to call them fluffin' chops. That's not a technical term, that's just what I like to call them. A cockatoo that is quite relaxed usually covers their bottom beak with those lower cheek feathers. Cockatiels do it as well. Funnily, it happens in a lot of birds, but their feathers there are really, really short, and so it doesn't actually cover anything. I've seen my African greys do it, but their feathers are so tiny it doesn't cover anything. But it does mean that that is a nice, relaxed bird. Usually, it's a good indicator most of the time. So feathers is so complex that I'm just going to let that sit. You all know your birds. Beaks. Here's 2 pictures of birds with open beaks. And you can tell me the difference between the top picture and the bottom picture. I'll describe it now because we're on a webinar. The top picture has the eyes closed. The bottom picture has the eyes open. 1 eyeball or 2? 2 eyeballs in the bottom picture. I'm in range. Okay, that gives me some information. We can't see the stance, but I can see the feathers. The top bird is nice and fluffy, very round. The bottom bird has some feathers extended, the wings extended, but is not poofy round. They're more poofy back of the head, but not the rest of the body. And the beak is open, but the top bird has the tongue up in the way. And the bottom bird, I can see right into the back of that beak. So the top bird is yawning and comfortable. And the bottom bird has so many indicators of uncomfortable: binocular vision, tight, tall body, a little bit wider foot stance, wings extended in a go-away pattern. It's just all of that saying, no, thank you, I need distance. And when you add them all up together, it paints a picture. That's what I want you to see when you're observing. So body language is about the careful observation of your bird to communicate. And it's that communication that lowers their stress and your stress. It prevents bites in and of itself, just like that last picture of the macaw. Now that I can see all that, I don't need to put my hand in. I can see that it's been requested not to. The body language tells us so much. Understanding body language is something that I continue to learn. This leads into some choice and consent talk. That macaw was giving me all the signs of, please do not put your hand near me. I do not want to right now. We are going to allow for that. It is the best welfare thing for that bird to let him tell me what he needs and then give that to him. I am so proud to be giving you ethical training definitions, but I'm not going to be giving you any of the actual definitions because we can all go and Google that. I just want you to know that emphasizing choice and agency and consent is key to working through the next few steps, using the most up-to-date information, using the highest welfare. Using positive reinforcement is not just about giving a treat. It's not about the cookie. It's about all of this that needs to happen at the same time. If we have a bird who is telling us no thank you, we need to respect that. This falls into emphasize welfare before outcomes. Do I really need him to step up right now if he's telling me that? I need welfare first. I'm also going to be prioritizing species-specific behaviors and enrichment. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. That just means I need the birds to be a bird. They're birds for a reason. Let's let them do bird things. And if they aren't very good at doing bird things, we can teach. We can help them. I want them to be birds first. So, how do we fit all this together? We've got the ABCs and we've got a functional assessment and we've got body language and all this stuff, but how does this help me train my parrot? You're a parrot caregiver. You've got 1, 2, 3 birds at home, and you just were here to hopefully learn how to use some positive reinforcement. Great, let's do that, because training is actually a sum of both the communication, which includes the body language, and building trust together. We've got some cool games a little bit later on how to build that trust while maintaining those communicative back and forth dialogues. It's really important to keep that open. Understanding the ABCs is going to help. We're going to be using something called shaping, where we're adding small bits at a time. Think of it like shaping clay into a sculpture and maintaining the two-way communication at all times. This is how we're going to be doing it. It's super fun. This sounds really technical. It's super fun because training is actually just games. It's just a game. It's just fun. You go back and forth and you do a thing and then the bird responds and then you reward them and then the bird can eat and then you cue it again and you can go back and forth and you have an amazing team where you're both excited to play together. And you say, hey, I really want to play this game. And your bird says, awesome, I do too, let's go. It works really well because it's fun. It's fun for you, it's fun for the bird, it's fun for everybody. So let's look at some games.
Come.
Turn. Turn.
He does the thing, you do the thing.
Turn
It's so
around.
fun.
Good.
Rachel? Mommy, Lily's turn.
Drop it, one of my favorite
Drop
games.
it. Good.
It's a great game. All of these games are trained with positive reinforcement, but they're all using all of those tools from before. I love training games. Training games are so, so, so much fun. I'm going to give you a training game right now called Tap Tap Treat. It is a super fun game that I hope every single bird gets to play. It is really easy. You need absolutely nothing other than yourself, your bird, and some sort of delicious thing that the bird gets to eat. I'll show you a video in a second. All that happens is that the bird wins the treat every single time. We add in a cue that says, this is the treat, it's gonna be happening right here. And the bird learns that the tappy thingy always happens right before the treat happens. It builds a lot of trust, it builds a lot of back and forth communication, and it's really easy because even if you don't know what the heck is going on, after a couple of repeats of tap, 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 treat, the bird starts to recognize that, I don't know what the heck that finger is, but the treat always happens right there. Super fun, super easy. And then we can use it to move our birds to new locations. This is how we get perching on your hand, on your shoulder, on the cage. Here's a video explaining tap, tap, treat. I'd love it if everybody went home and played this game. We start with it inside the cage. You're going to see this cockatiel almost kind of lunges at me at the beginning of the video. Let's see how quickly it goes. This was either 1 or 2 sessions, about 15 minutes total.
Start by feeding your bird a preferred food item. This can be through the cage. Then introduce a tap before feeding the treat. Repeat. Tap, tap, treat. Make this as easy as possible for your bird. Tap, tap, treat. Next, move to another easy location. Repeat. Tap, tap, treat. Slowly increase that movement. The taps say, this is where the treat will be. Practice. Now we try this with the door open. Only make one thing harder at a time. Tap, tap, treat should be easy and fun. Continue to practice until you are both comfortable. When you are ready, try asking for more. Tap, tap, treat outside the cage. This useful skill helps you communicate where you would like the bird to go. Good.
This is super useful for things like stepping on a finger, stepping on a shoulder, stepping off of your finger or shoulder, getting your bird to move just about anywhere, and communicating to them that if they do it, there's a treat in there for them. It's a great, super fun game. But pretty much any life skill can be a game. Any of this can be made into a game, and your bird can win. Step up on your finger, step off of your finger, going into the cage, coming out of the cage, going to the crate. That's how we get all of the fun behaviors as we make it into a game. We make sure that the bird wants to play, and if they don't want to, that's totally fine. We make sure they're comfortable, happy, enjoying. There's all these labels. I want to see the body language that gives me those indicators. And it's fun for you too. It's cooperative, it's joyful, it's a really fun time to see how quickly even that little cockatiel went from sort of lunging at the beginning to coming out of the cage, on top of the cage and moving around, and I could even move him back in. It wasn't on the video. It's such a wonderful thing to be able to do with our birds. So you cue it, they do the thing, You give them a reinforcer for it, and you repeat. This is training. It's a super fun way to look at anything you want your bird to do. Here's a few fun training games. I'm going to talk over them, so I'm going to make the videos quiet. This is the conures doing the medicine. I love it. Their reinforcement's actually in the syringe. They think it's hilarious to drink water out of there. We can put apple juice in there, and they're almost fighting each other to get the ability to drink out of the syringe, which is the opposite response. Usually they're afraid of the syringe. What's the cue? The cue is just the syringe being there. The reinforcer is coming right out of the end, and they freaking love it. They think it's a super fun game. I love playing that. Here's another video with the Senegal. It's a little bit longer. I'll talk you through it. The Senegal does have a history of biting. So, Senegal's named Odie. He's about 25 years old. They're putting some treats in his cage right now, but they also want him to go in his cage by himself. So, let me see here. There we go. There's the perch. Sorry. So he steps up onto a rope perch, and at the end of that stick is a little bit of a treat for him, a little peanut butter. And so he's then able to step off. No, he doesn't want to step off. That is a wonderful cue. He says, no, I'm not quite ready. Thank you. And the human's going to listen to that and offer the top of the cage, cue him to step off. And he says, yes, I absolutely will. He gets his reinforcer at that point. Fantastic. We're going to go a little bit further, and we're going to see if he will target to go down into his cage. Here he comes all by himself. That's his target stick and his treat stick. Targets, treats. And slowly we close the door. Perfect. So no bloodshed, no hands in the way, no biting, comfy, happy bird, listening to his refusal. It works for everyone. So happy I got that on video. They're wonderful people. So that choice and control, that no, I don't want to step off thing is one of the harder pieces because we really want them to go in their cage. We're late for work. We got to go out. We need them to go in their cage. And having the ability for the bird to say, no, thank you, I need another way is a big, big, big piece. It's part of the agency piece. Acknowledge that body language and say, hey, yeah, no, I totally get it. Oh, look, my note of adding a no thank you video. This is a no thank you video. I added the video.
Chloe, do you want to come? Do you want to come with me?
And Chloe says,
Oh my goodness.
can you see how she hasn't moved her body at all? Her feet are calm. Her body feathers are in that neutral. She doesn't have the fluff over her bottom cheek. We've got one eyeball. Really beautiful, neutral body language. But when asked, hey, do you want to step up? She just says no thank you by not changing anything. She could step further away. There was a slight lean away. And what this owner did, this caregiver did, was recognized that, turn the sound off because it gets loud, and said, okay, yeah, no problem. I'll just give you head scratches instead. Really awesome. Really awesome work. Yep. Thanks for letting me know. All right. We are just on time. Perfect. I'm going to go through some common behavior problems. So we're going to look at screaming, we're going to look at biting, we're going to look at some plucking, and we're going to look at some cage aggression. So this is your quick guide in these 4 scenarios with these 4 birds and these specific videos. It could be different for yours. We'll run through them. I'll tell you about the ABCs. This is not a prescription on how to fix these things, okay? You still have to run your ABC and functional assessment. But for this scenario, when the bird is alone in the room, the behavior is the bird making very loud, repetitive, super loud vocalizations. And you come back into the room. So the prediction is that screaming will maintain that loud vocalization because you come back in the room and it works. The solution for this bird was to teach them an alternate way to get attention, to say, hey, excuse me, could you please come and give me some attention? I really need some attention right now, in a way that's not so loud and repetitive. We reinforced some quiet moments, but we also restructured the environment so that she had more to do all by herself. I'll share a couple of videos here. These do get loud, so my apologies. This is the loud repetitive behavior from the beginning. One eye. And it just goes on and on and on. I'm going to leave you guys with that. What did we come up with? We came up with a much quieter noise. She is in her cage in this one as well. She's got a little bit different enrichment. Her cage is in a slightly different location. If she makes a nice quiet noise, I come over. Let's see how that works. Her bow. Her bow. Good girl.
What a good girl.
Kisses. I love all of those noises. You can do any of those. Those are wonderful. And she was really happy to do all of those noises. And that brought me closer. She was all over that. Heck yeah. It works for her. All right. We're zooming along. Biting during step up is the next one we're talking about. This one I see fairly often. You go to ask your bird for a step up, your hand approaches, the bird bites that hand, and the hand goes away. So the bird will continue to bite the hand to make it go away. It works. It works just well. And the function is escape or avoidance. I don't really want to step on your hand right now, thank you. I'm going to bite it and it's going to go away, and that's how that goes. So instead, we're going to teach some consent-based interactions. We're going to ask them if they would like to do a step up. And if they don't want to, they don't have to, just like the cockatoo there. We're going to use some small shaping with positive reinforcement, especially for a bird that may have accidentally been forced onto a hand before. We need to redo some of those step up things to make it voluntary, to make it positive, and to really respect that no thank you. We don't always have to pick up our birds on our hands. We can do it different ways. So let's look at this scenario here. We've got the conure coming down. This is Kevin. He has the ability to retreat back in his cage, and yet he comes forward and bites, fluffs the head. Would you like a tickle instead? Will that make you go away? I don't want to step up. I would love for the bird to say no thank you in a couple different ways. And my favorite no thank you is called a behavioral freeze. A behavioral freeze is pretending you are invisible. This is a behavioral freeze.
Do you want to come step up?
She didn't even blink. She didn't move. Not at all. Just nothing. She's just given me nothing. But that in itself is a response in this case, because if she had wanted to step up, if there was an indication that step up was likely, she gives a foot up. She would have one eye, not two. This is, look, she's almost got two eyes on me. She's got a fairly wide foot stance. She's on an unstable perch. None of this is conducive to her doing a step up right now. I have an entire course on step up. It can be overcome if you have a bird that steps up and bites at the same time. We just have to set these things up so that the step up is likely to happen. Tap, tap, treat works really well for this because we can give them a cue. If you come on my hand, you can get the seed. I want them to be able to say no, thank you. And so when they say no, thank you, I just remove my hand. I would rather them say no, thank you nicely than bite it. Biting sort of loud, air quotes, loud, angry, labels. Make sense? That's just communication. Just all communication, all behavior. This again is Odie. What would I prefer to happen during a step up? And because Odie has a history of biting, his owners, caregivers have gone to this perch and it works great for them. Would you like to step? Yes, I would. I got some peanut butter on a stick. Fantastic. Will you please step down? Yes, I will. Here's some peanut butter on a stick. Super happy to do that. One eye. Really happy to do that. I'd love to see that again because that goes by very quickly. Do you want to? Look how far he leans. He's like, heck yeah. Ugh. Oh yeah. And he gets some reinforcement. And they give him another cue to step off and he says, sure. He goes. Did take some practice. There are some games involved to get there, but that's what I would prefer him to do. Good bird. Feather destruction. As everybody here hopefully is aware, feather destruction is an extremely complex topic. There are hours and hours and hours and hours of talking we could do on feather destruction in and of itself. The ABC on this particular feather destruction we're talking about today is auto-reinforcing. It's inside the bird, and the bird is in a stressful situation. The bird pulls out their body feathers by the root, and they actually get some type of adrenaline from the pulling, and it helps with the stress. So in the prediction, it says when in a stressful situation, the bird will continue to pluck to feel better. And isn't that just heartbreaking that the bird is doing it to self-soothe? If you have a bird that is feather plucking, please take it seriously. Please go to your avian vet. I have here rule out medical. No, like really, really honestly, get very close with your avian veterinarian. Feather destructive behavior often has a medical root, whether it is pain or being uncomfortable. I myself have a bird. His name is Monster. He's a cockatiel. He's 25 years old. He pulls out all the feathers just on his neck. His head is perfect, his body is perfect, his wings and tail are perfect, but just the 1 centimeter of his neck is absolutely naked. And with working with my avian vet, he has been diagnosed with pain and his neck hurts. And so now he's on some medications to help with that. It's still plucked, it's still bare, but I can see changes in his behavior that indicate to me that the pain medication is helping. So there's so much. There's probably 100 different things that we can look at with feather destruction. And I want to make sure that the bird is set up as optimally as possible from a welfare situation. I want them to have enrichment. I want them to be able to choose to interact with things or to hide if they need a little bit of escape from things. If they're bored, I would love for them to do something all day. We can find toys that they can interact with. We can find items that they're willing to touch, or we can teach those skills. Any of the missing self-care skills, if they don't know that they can just walk away and self-distance, we can teach that. If they don't know that they can actually preen a shoelace instead of preening themselves to self-soothe, we can teach that. We can teach foraging, we can teach redirection, we can teach the missing skills. And remember, all of those teaching is all games. We got to make sure that the bird is healthy and happy first. So as an incredibly complex situation, I just want you guys to know that functional assessment and the behavior analysis side of it comes after the medical. Please work with a professional. There is so many things to look at. This is where I really want to get that functional assessment to try and make our behavior plan, our solution plan, really fit exactly what is going on. There's a picture actually of my cockatiel Monster, the bottom right one. His little naked neck. Oh, I love it so much. There's Winston the Quaker, and I believe that is Clark, the African gray. And some birds never grow back their feathers, but there are so many things there that I would love to delve deeper into, and I just do not have the time today. So we're going to keep going. Aggression during cage cleaning. I see this one a lot in my practice. This is where you're going to change the bowl and the parrot comes forward to the bowl and lunges to bite at the bowl, to bite your hand. And then what happens? The outcome is the hand goes away. So the prediction would be the next time you go to reach for the bowl, the bird's gonna lunge to make the hand go away. And the function here could be a distancing request, don't touch my stuff. But it could also be resource guarding, as in, that's my food, I want my food, give me my food quicker, faster, even faster than that. If I bite it, it happens really fast. Right. None of this is optimal for the bird. None of it's optimal for you. I have a 0 biting rule. I don't like my fingers bleeding. It's not even fun for the bird. They are really exuberantly saying, I do not like this right now. And the only thing in my toolbox is to bite. So we could temporarily relocate the bird if you need to do cage maintenance. You could remove the bird, put them in a crate, put them in a different cage so that you're not getting bitten. Sure. But we can also train those missing skills. I like training a target to get the bird to move voluntarily. I like training a station. A station is like a spot. Stay right here. Sit on this perch. It works really, really well. While the cage is serviced, depends on the bird, depends on that function. we can pair cleaning with treats so that cleaning is an awesome time and not a horrible time. Depends exactly on what your bird needs. So let's start with, which one first? This one first. You approach the cage, take a look at what happens. He sits on the door perch. He runs back to the bowl. He runs up the side of the cage. He runs back down again to the bowl, to the perch. He's almost frantic. Feathers are extended. There's some biting that happens. He actually got a treat right then. He thought that was progress. That's wonderful. He's still trying to move. He's trying to say what he needs to say. He is trying to guard his food bowl in this case. In this case, he knows the next thing that happens is the door opens for the little food dish, and he's going to run straight over and charge. This is not calm behavior. He's not sitting there waiting happily, going, what a delicious treat. All right, you may proceed. He is a little bit tight. There's tension in that body. So I'd love to see more work with that to get him a little more comfy. Speaking of tension, look at this video. This is a click stick. It's a target and a clicker in one. She knows how to touch it. I'm asking her to come in right by her food bowl and touch the stick. Watch what she does. That was not a nice... I reposition so that it's easier for her. She touches it and gets her reinforcer. Calmer body language works for me here. I didn't worry too much about that particular lunge, but we're going to try it again here in a second. No, we didn't try it again in this video. That lunge is telling me that we have a little bit more work to do around the bowl. So here I'm going to show you what the station looks like when it is completely done. This is a double yellow-headed Amazon named Ernie, and there are two food bowls, one's for food, one's for water. They've both been out and cleaned, and I'm going to ask Ernie to station. Ernie has a history of biting and lunging. Yeah.
I'm going to give you nummies.
She's quite loud. I'm asking her to sit on this perch in the middle. He gets a treat. I'm watching her body so that if anything is changing, I stop. Slowly move that one there. Put it in the spot. Slowly close the door. She's still happily hanging out in that perch, eating her treat. So much so that she's not done yet, and I have to wait to give her the next treat. Are you done? Like, hold on a second. I'm still chewing. Okay, cool. Can I go? Are you just gonna, no? Okay, take the treat. Good. She's sitting there, she's hanging out, she's watching me, she's really watching. Good job.
Okay.
I give her the all clear. There are nuts in there. I add one more, and she's allowed to go down. Great clear body language from an Amazon that has bitten and lunged before. That's a great station. That's what I want to see every bird do. So let's put it all together. I'm going to play the first video again. So let's see if anything looks different this time. Can you see the body language? Can you see the stance? Can you see the eyeballs? Can you see what's happening in that? What happened right before? What happened right after? What's the bird's function here? Okay, no, thank you. Okay, got it. You want to up? No, no. Okay. I want to play. You're not playing. I need to protect my food bowl. Lunge. Oh, the girl. We worked on that a lot. You want to up? No? Okay, cool. No problem. You want to tickle? Yes, you do. Okie dokie. These two. I think that was just water too. Turn? Yes, I do. Heck yeah. Uh-huh. Step? Not really. Okay, cool. Awesome. Hopefully that's all making a little more sense for everybody. So here are our key takeaways. This one and the next one, you can screenshot both of these as well. All behavior is some sort of communication. I want you to see it in observable terms, define it, and understand it. We are looking at a species that is very different from us. They're not even mammals. We get to work really hard to make sure that we are understanding what we think we're understanding when they are talking with their body. Use those ABCs, practice them, make it fun. Figure out the behavior first. What behavior am I looking at? It's the bite. Okay, great. What happened right before? Antecedent. What happened right after? Consequence. Then we can find the function. What did my bird get or avoid there? And then reinforce what you want to see more of. I would love to see you sit on this perch and I can change your water bowl. I might have to teach it in very small steps. It might have to be a little bit of a game. That's fine. Reinforce what you want to see. Tell them they can be successful and reinforce them for it. Avoid as much as you possibly can. There are some fallouts to punishment. We're not going into that today, but I want to make sure that you all have resources. You can ask questions if you're thinking about it. And we are going to talk in a few minutes if you have questions. Here we are. Read that body language. Your bird is talking to you. You might not understand it. You might need to grab a video and figure out what the heck it is. And if you're seeing something and you don't quite understand it, I'm happy to receive videos and try and do some explanation of any of the body parts that are moving. Don't take the problem behaviors personally. It is very likely that the bird does not hate you, but there is a function to it. So we need to go a little bit deeper and see what the bird is seeing, what the function is here. And then we can find a plan and repair whatever relationship you need to have. When in doubt, slow down, observe, and reinforce calm and curious behavior. I use a lot of foraging trays. I can sprinkle in a couple of seeds. We can get some calm behavior, and then we can really see what the heck is going on when everybody has a beat. Training is a back and forth game. It's built on trust, it's built on choice, and it's built on lots and lots and lots of tiny wins. So here are all my references. These are the things that you need to be looking for if you're ever watching a seminar and they do not have any books or any references of any kind. I want you to know that it is important that these are here. I can give this list to the organizers to make sure you all have it. There's lots of really cool stuff. I just realized I put in the title of the book, but not the actual chapter or article that I was referencing, so I will get that bigger list to you. Yeah, and now we have time for Q&A, and we're a little early, so we've got lots of time for Q&A. If you have a behavior you'd like to look at, we will do that together now, but we will be practicing that ABC format with you and your bird.
Once again, thank you, Robin, for your wonderful sharing. I'm sure all of us have gained new knowledge as a new pet bird owner or long-time caregiver, and we'll be utilizing it to improve the well-being of our pet birds. We have come to the end of this webinar. Thank you everyone for joining, and we hope to see you at the next one.